Sinziana, I'm so happy that you're here. We're having an energy talk, and the reason that I invited you is because you have a beautiful practice as a relationship coach. And yeah, welcome.
Thank you so much. I truly appreciate the invite, and I'm happy to be here.
Yes, I'm so enthusiastic because we will dive into some really interesting topics in relationship to having beautiful, soulful, meaningful relationships. And this all starts with your true self.
That's so true.
Yes, and that's also what I've noticed on your website in the way you offer your coaching. So that's one of the trajectories that you offer to find your true self. And I'm really interested in how you came onto the path of finding your true self and what's the story behind that.
Thank you so much for the question. It's a very long story. It started with me being a teenage girl, having this mission to really look for a meaningful partnership in my life. So just back then I was calling it finding a husband that can make a family with me and where we can travel and have fun together. That was my goal. And of course, I also wanted to do something for living that I truly like. But that's where finding myself truly started. And then I started to be part of relationships. And through different relationships, I have noticed that it's not that much fun and games as I was hoping.
It wasn't as beautiful as you had pictured it yourself as a child.
No. And at the beginning, I thought, okay, on to the next one. It's just not the right partner. We will try again. After 2 or 3 experiences, I thought, okay, what if there is something wrong with me? That these conflicts, it was especially around conflict, that the same conflict occurred. It just felt it was the same problem with different partners. But the core of the relationship was the same. It started nice. First 2 3 years, everything was wonderful. And then, bam, something was 100% different.
And what was it about the conflict that you've noticed that it's a reoccurring thing actually in every relationship?
Well, now looking with my coach eyes, there was a unhealthy dynamic which I have learned at home. Every time when something was happening, I was not in touch with my emotions. I was not at all aware of what was happening. And I was putting on a mask, which was most of the time a victim mask. Oh, he doesn't care about me. There must be something wrong with me. Otherwise, he would truly want this relationship to work. What should I do to change myself to be better so that that person can accept me? That was the narrative that kept playing in my head. Different relationship, same narrative. And sometimes I would truly get into this savior pattern, which was also very familiar to me, where I was thinking, okay, there is also something wrong with you. I'm gonna fix that for you. But that person never asked me, would you like to help? I was just giving unsolicited advice and help, which was really unhealthy.
So you stepped actually into different roles that were not your own.
As Shakespeare likes to say, we play many roles in our lives, and we have our entrances and our exits. But are we aware that we play these roles?
So at one time, after a few relationships in which you noticed that you were playing out these roles that didn't feel nice, right? They were like haunting you actually, because it kept you into a negative dynamic with the partner. So your path to your true self started. What did you discover on that path?
Oh, wow. A lot. Mostly, I discovered that I know myself the best.
Mm-hmm.
Just the fact that I had this intuition, something starting in myself that was saying there is something about me that I need to change.
Mm-hmm.
It cannot be this partner today and after 3 years the same partner that I blame for something wrong happening. It's about looking at myself and saying, okay, what is wrong within myself? That, or maybe not wrong, but just something that doesn't work in alignment with what I want from my life. And mostly the very first thing that I discovered, and that coincided with the time when I was immigrating to the Netherlands as a teenager, was that my communication skills were really bad. And when I say that, I mean I have learned again a dynamic in my communication skills, which was not what was not helping me, was not something that was getting me to where I wanted. So then that journey started. In parallel, I noticed, wow, my emotions are something else than in other people. What's wrong with me? I was overwhelmed with my emotions. You know, I think you know very well how it is to be in front of somebody, that person drives you crazy, and instead of being like, I feel angry, can we discuss about this? It escalates so much that you start crying and be like, oh my God, everything is a disaster, and so on.
So,
right?
and from that moment, the victim part just arose and took over, actually.
Indeed. So that was the very first step that the drama triangle plays, right? Because that's what we know. Okay, wait, I have a coping mechanism. I know how to do this. It comes. But it's also, I'm not expressing my emotions authentically. So if I start crying, you think, oh, she's sad, right? How can I comfort her? Well, in fact, I was angry. And that's one of my biggest discovery, that our emotions are in our life to help us, to help solve conflict, to help collaborate with others, to help us express our needs.
That's right. And actually, one thing you mentioned about anger and how it was translated by you in tears, that's actually one of the ways that anger is being expressed, right? That you can feel very sad. But what I also experienced in my coaching and rebirthing practice is that anger also can be expressed laughing. That was a surprise because we are not taught, how to receive our emotions. And like in our upbringing, when it's not being received, or when you get remarks like, okay, stop crying now, or stop being that nasty, then you don't learn how to handle them.
Indeed,
right?
Indeed. So now I am part of this certification I'm taking, which helps me help my clients manage their emotions. And John Parr, very good trainer, he's saying that there are cover-up emotions that help us express other emotions. But once we are in touch with our emotions, first step to be self-aware of what am I feeling. The second step would be to regulate my emotions. So is that truly what I feel? How can I make sure that I'm in a regulated state where I can communicate with the other, my emotion? And for me, it's fascinating. And then there are other steps, but for me, there is fascinating to see that we learn so well to cover emotions. So when we laugh, that's a cover-up emotion. Like happiness, it's a cover-up emotion for our anger, right? Because we learn that this is accepted. It's not accepted for me as a little girl. That's something I learned, to be angry, to be furious, to express it. But what's accepted is to laugh about it, because then I'm funny, right?
Or drink it away. That's also a
Yeah, or
coping
numb it.
behavior.
Yeah.
Numb it. Yes.
And it's fascinating. The more I started to go on this journey, the more I realized how little I know.
Yes.
And so emotions were a big part. Regulating my emotion was just a major life change.
So what about fear? Because on the path to your true self, I can imagine there must be some fears that were holding you back to be your true self. So could you elaborate on one fear that you tackled actually to be able to be your true self?
Thanks for the question. Yes, that was major, to acknowledge that I'm afraid. And my biggest fear would be that I'm not going to ever find a partner that will match my dreams. That was playing on the background for the whole time. And only when I could look at myself in the mirror and say like, yeah, that is a fear. It's normal that I'm afraid of that. That's the moment where I realized that fear was like, if you can imagine, lying on top of an umbrella. But that umbrella was holding so many other fears, like this fear and this fear and this fear. And they were a lot about being worthy, feeling worthy. So the one that I discovered when I was in my early 20s was that I was afraid that I'm not smart enough. So who is going to choose me to spend the rest of my life with if I am not smart enough for
that person,
right? And I said, okay, but wait a second, why am I afraid that I'm not smart enough? Do I believe that I'm not smart enough? Yeah, I kind of believe it. Okay, is that true? Is that who I truly am? A silly person? Or what is it that brings me to this belief? So then I started with that. I really did things intuitively, which was something that I was not aware of. I realized later on that I'm a reflective person, and for me it's natural.
So you started questioning your beliefs, and this was actually going on before you started your personal development journey.
Yes, before I even knew about psychology or coaching. I truly wanted to make sure that I have a right partner in this life. In a point, I could be 40, 50, 60, but in a point of my life, I truly wanted to have like this partner that I envisioned.
Yes.
And that was such an internal drive that I was like, okay, apparently I have a lot of obstacles, but let's get going, right? And yeah, the moment where I started to unwrap these beliefs is the moment when I realized, okay, wow, I am capable to change them. It's painful, it's sometimes difficult, but it's not impossible.
And what was painful about it?
I think finding out that you are not the way you believed you are.
Because then you would find out that you are smart and that you are capable.
Yeah, but there was a journey, like there was a lot of doubt to get there. And I think only when I was 26 and I met my life partner from nowadays, that's the moment where my doubt got released, because that was truly the moment when I felt like, oh my goodness, I actually knew that this is possible. I went for it. It was painful, but for the first time I can feel this sense of I know what I need in this life.
Well, that's interesting, because on your path to your true self, while you were still actually developing that, you met your current partner.
Yes. So as you were asking me, I was going through all of these beliefs. I was working. I had a lot of doubt, a lot of fear, but I was doing it.
Yes, you were doing it.
But it was not like I realized it and then the next day let's say I left unhealthy relationship that what
Mhm.
I was part of.
Mhm.
No, I realized it, and then I thought, how can I make this work? Okay, so there are some things that I'm missing within myself, but maybe I just need to give 120%. And that was painful
Mhm.
to not know what you have to do.
Mhm.
Something is not right. You have to work on yourself, but what do you do with your life meanwhile? You have to try and fail and try and fail until you get to a point of like, okay, this is the path I'm gonna step forward. And now that I'm speaking about this, I have like this sense of emotions because this is happening in multiple facets of my life,
So
with my career as well.
I know.
And
Yeah, so there is a lot going on, and yeah, we are unraveling it, right? And
yes,
yeah, it's
we are doing life basically.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, because I truly believe that even though you're working through your fears, um, it's somehow still there. You
Mhm.
cannot be unafraid from one point to another, from one method to another. You're just using all different kinds of methods to go through it, to get to know the fears, and it's also about the practical side of it, like start living the life while you are going through the fears. And I think that's a really great part of conquering fears. And that's what I've noticed, like in your story, like, oh my God, you met your current partner while you were, um,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
getting to know
actually
yourself.
a great acknowledgement,
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of my clients, they say they have this belief that I'm working on myself,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm not ready to start
Mm-hmm.
dating.
That's
Um,
also what I hear a lot. Yes.
I'm not ready to enter
Mm-hmm.
another relationship because I'm focusing on myself. Yes, you are, and part of focusing on yourself is to try, to explore,
Mm-hmm.
to step into the actual life, because I truly believe that there is something I cannot truly explain, but there are things that we can heal only in a relationship. There are just things that change inside of you when you, for instance, um, my I like to believe that I broke the recurrent pattern that I have, which I was attracting a type of man into my life that was very similar with what I have seen at home, how my grandma attracted my grandpa, and my mom attracted my dad, and was a dynamic playing for generations in our family. And I noticed myself doing that. I noticed that what I was so attracted in that partner at the beginning was what it drives me nuts after 3-4 years about him. And then I thought, okay, can I break this? Can I be attracted by another kind of person? And I didn't know. I felt like that's what I should do, but only by going into another relationship I could find out if it's working or not, my theory.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, back then I didn't know about Jung and the fact that he also wrote a couple of books about this. But I'm explaining to you what I truly felt in that moment,
Mm-hmm.
which was something was wrong. How can I break this pattern? And then I thought, okay, I can look into myself and say, I need to do this, I need to do this. Oh, wow, I'm so busy. I need to change so many things within myself. And I can also, while I'm doing that, enter
Mm-hmm.
a relationship and challenge myself. Okay, now is the time for you to do things differently.
That's right.
Are you able to do that?
Yes, and it's not easy.
No.
It's not easy because that attraction that you talk about, that comes from something inside that is broken.
Mm-hmm.
And that's also what I've learned throughout the years,
Mm-hmm.
by personal experience, but also by guiding clients. Like the most recent conversations that I've had with women who were ready to be opening up, to their meaningful and loving relationship that they truly desired. They also had to overcome being attracted to the wrong men. And how do you change that? You have to be conscious of it and then say no to it, and also understand where it's coming from, because it triggered me that you mentioned like how it was present in your family for generations, because it's like a type of mindset. It's about how it was played out for your eyes when you were a child. And also I think in the end it's about feeling the need to be loved. And if you didn't have like the healthy examples in front of you, then you will start copying the unhealthy ones. And you start believing that if I behave in a certain way, I will be with that partner that I desire to be with. And most of the time I get back that they feel attracted to like more the dominant type of guy, the one who is really expressive, know what they want. And actually those are also the parts that they needed to develop within themselves. Yeah, and when you start changing that, yeah, I see you nodding. I think you have a story on that one.
For sure.
Yes. Then you start to feel more whole again from within. And then you start noticing what you actually want in another person. Like maybe sharing different interests, that you have some things in common and that you want to do that, instead of, oh no, I'm already in love because he's just being nice to me and he takes me out and we're doing all these types of fun things, in which you unconsciously adjust actually the way you are, right? And then when you start getting to know yourself, you're like, no, but what I truly want to do in my free time is going to musea, for example, or reading books or taking long walks. And is that person also like to do that? Yes or no? So it's that switch.
So you are spot on. You are talking about so many things that are essential for a relationship. One part of what you said is a lot about compatibility and chemistry. Where I come from, it's a culture that it's driven by passion, and chemistry is kind of the only thing you need in a relationship. And it took me many years to understand that no, if you don't have compatibility, which is more about what you are saying, do we have the same life goals? Are we working towards the same vision? Do you want to have kids? Do you want to not? If not, that's fine. I don't have to convince you to have kids just because we have chemistry, right? Things like that are so essential for starting to date and to get to know each other. And I always say to my clients, the sooner the better. Don't wait until you form an attachment towards a person to get to have these conversations. So this is one side of what you are saying. And then the other side is these patterns that we have that are very familiar to us. And we have performed them for such a long time that it's very difficult to become as an observer and check with ourselves, okay, am I doing this again? Do I want to do this again? Or do I do it just because it's easy and familiar? Even though it kills my soul, right? And what you were saying about the dominant character, that's truly something that I was going for.
Is that also part of the culture that you're coming from? Can you say again where you're from?
Yes, I'm from Romania, East Europe. And yes, you can see 50 shades of dominant characters over there.
Within men or also within women?
Very good question. I thought within men, but the more I go back then, the more I connect to my roots, the more I realize it's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
Because it's like a snowball.
It's interesting.
I want to make a parallel between this dominant energy and the feminine and masculine energy we have in ourselves. So, to give you an example of a dynamic that is very familiar to me, I fall in love with this macho guy who is extremely charismatic, extremely, yeah, nice for
Outgoing,
me. Outgoing and makes
social.
jokes and social, and also very capable to do a lot of things I'm not capable to do. All these things, fun and games. And he's falling in love with me because I am feminine, right? I am calm and caring, and I give him attention. I am his cheerleader, like, oh, you're amazing, you look great. And then life starts, and we have to take decisions together. And we start to somehow hate what we love about each other. So the partner starts saying, like, yeah, you are really not assertive. You really have to tell me what you want. I cannot guess your dreams, right? There is this dynamic that is played in a lot of couples where the girl is like, yeah, but if you care about me, you would know what I need. Yeah, because the guy is just going to sleep and thinking, what could she need tomorrow? No. And then he starts getting annoyed that I'm too soft, right?
But the idea is that the dynamic started changing.
Exactly. And that you start to think about me. Let's say we are in a relationship and you really like some things about me, but when the dynamic starts to play out, what you liked in myself, it becomes not only like a weakness in your eyes, but you start to develop this content. Like, oh, you know, this is the emotion that is the devil for a relationship, content. Where you are like, oh, she can never be assertive. She's just.
And did you have any thoughts about him being that dominant, social, charismatic guy? What type of thoughts did you have?
That he cannot be vulnerable.
Yes.
Right? That that person can never truly see me because they are all about doing, achieving, going to this social outing. Why I want to rest, to speak about ourselves in a deeper way. But how can you speak about yourself in a deeper way if you don't know anything about yourself, if you don't dare to face your emotions, to dare to be vulnerable?
That's right. So these types of relationships, they really teach us to see who we truly are in a way. So you have to somehow go through all the drama and work through it, and sometimes maybe experience it several times to uncover what is truly you. Yes. Yeah. I also thought about the people I see who got into burnout, for example. Sometimes you have to go through a second or third burnout before you realize, I think, I should change my patterns. Yes, I should change my limited thinking or limiting behavior patterns. And
that's a human being. I also had the same. Why didn't I say this? Why didn't I reach this conclusion after the first unsuitable relationship? Why did I have to go to the second and the third and get more and more in pain? Because that's actually what we do. We wait for pain to occur, because pain is the emotion, the feeling that tells us you need to heal, you need to recover.
That's right.
Stop what you're doing. It's like when you burn yourself because you're ironing and you didn't pay attention. You get a scar that helps you heal the wound.
That's right. So a part of moving towards your true self is also getting to know the balance of the masculine and feminine energy within oneself, and try to heal that, right? Try to see in what way, for example, living from a masculine energy as a woman plays out that it actually sucks away your energy in a way, instead of that you as a woman recharge on a daily basis. Yeah, so you also mentioned that in the relationship dynamic that you just explained. So what happens then when you start focusing on how to change that, like towards a healthy balance?
So I think the very first step is to acknowledge where you are.
Mm-hmm.
So to give you an example, when I stepped out of my last relationship, which was not going well at all, I was a lot in my masculine energy because I needed this coping mechanism almost to push me to take action, which was to stop that relationship. And I was a lot in this masculine energy also in my career, also in my friendships. It's everywhere. And it expanded in a way that I was really focused on achieving, on doing, on I was overcommitting, for instance. All of these unhealthy things that they just like expand in different facets of your life. And the moment where I actually pulled the plug was when, also I have to explain that my job didn't help at all. I was organizing big events, very nice, very helpful to other people, great, but I was traveling a lot. So I was on the go non-stop. My life was in a very high tempo.
So you needed the masculine energy to hold up
Survive.
that type of okay, to survive. Yeah, to keep on living like that, right? In the doing mode.
And it's funny that you're asking this because the masculine energy, I believe, it's also the one who pushed me to get into these kind of jobs. Like, I love my job, but it was driven by my masculine energy.
It was driven by the feeling of ambition, achieving certain goals in your career.
Yeah, and this drive where I saw I have 3 commitments in a month where I had to fly in different places, and I was like, yeah, I can do this.
That's wonderful. Yes.
Well, now I think like, oh no, I'm very careful with my agenda. And
but that's also what I see in my practice when I speak to women who have lived like for too long from that masculine energy. They get tired, and that's also one of the causes of going into a burnout. That they just weren't in touch with their feminine energy, so didn't take enough time to recharge or to unwind, and also choose for the activities on a regular basis
exactly
that were more like calming.
So in this way, I was blessed, I like to think, because even though the pandemic was such a burden on a global level, for me personal, it came as a blessing because somebody unplugged that rhythm that I was having for me. And it coincided with a lot of important periods of my life where my relationship with my partner, it was at the very beginning. So we were in this discovery mode. And then my whole work stopped. I had to sit in a house. Back then I was living in literally 40 square meters. My partner was away in an explorative mission in Jordan. We were talking a lot with each other, helping each other deal with the situation. Abruptly, he came home. He stayed at my house because we had to quarantine. And then there was this new dynamic which allowed me to be somebody else, and that was really an authentic version of myself. I could rest, I could allocate a lot of time into reading, which is something I always loved, but I never made time for it, right? somehow I learned that I'm embodying my feminine energy. I'm making time for being creative. I was spending a lot of time in nature because we could either be in nature, either at home, right? And unconsciously, I was really allowing myself to be, which was beautiful. It was such an important year for me, and such an important year for our relationship, because we are who we are today as a relationship because we were in those moments ourselves. We were no longer having a mask, and if I look back when I entered the other relationships, I was a person who I felt like I had to be, but that was not myself.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Yeah, while I'm listening to you, I just see the images passing by of you two walking in nature and really connecting to each other. So my next question is, you mentioned a couple of times that it changed in an unconscious way, right, during that first year, because everything was unplugged. So naturally, you had more time for your personal interests. So when were you conscious of all of the changes that were actually going on during that first year?
Good question. The first thing that I started to read was a lovely book that one of my good friends gave me as a Christmas gift. It was a book of Esther Perel, Mating in Captivity, because I was curious, okay, now I have this relationship to be, how do I maintain it, right? And that's where I've dig. I think I have done some psychology exercises by myself, but that was the first time when I truly consciously worked towards creating healthy relationship dynamics. And that book came with a new set of discoveries in my life. I realized, okay, my intuition is such a true partner in this journey. Keep listening to it. Keep double checking how you feel, your body, your brain. It was that moment where I thought, okay, there are so many books that can help me. And that's the moment when the conscious started to play a role, because what I was doing unconsciously, I was also reading about it, and I thought, oh, it's not me. I'm not alone. There are multiple people who go through the same. Wow, okay, what else is there? What else is possible? What are other things that I don't know about myself, about communication, about relationships?
And bringing that masculine and feminine energy within yourself in balance, in harmony.
Exactly, and within my relationship as well. I do not recommend this at home, but because I'm a coach and because I have this innate energy into being curious, like, okay, but why are you doing this? And I started this with my partner. And before becoming a coach, he was actually my very first client. So I was asking him 100 questions about his past, about his childhood, and he's a talker, so he loves answering to all my questions.
And you got your practice.
Exactly. I got my first client.
Yes.
But again, I do not recommend this at home. And I discovered so much about him. He discovered quite some about himself. And I realized that, so feminine and masculine energy is not only about myself, but it plays a role in our relationship. It plays a role in his development. And can we change that? Or can he change that, right? He was mentioning to me that he would really like to have more dynamic because he's a complex being. He's also a person who plays piano. And we were just trying to set up our routine and our week. And I was encouraging him, okay, what are other things that you can do to enhance your creativity? While on the other side, because I love vulnerability and I love getting to know each other, I was also leading by example and opening up and, truly being vulnerable with what happened in my past. Because we are in a relationship. That's vital.
Of course, yes.
For a relationship.
Yeah, so I think the coaching part is in a way also vital.
Yeah.
Yeah. So because of course it wouldn't be maybe the first option to have your partner as your first client, but I think when I started coaching, I thought seriously, everyone should coach. Everyone should know the skills of what coaching entails, because then we would be living in a more happier place among other people. So that was what I thought. But I think it's amazing what you've done. Yeah, to open up and to encourage. The balance between the masculine and feminine energy. But please talk along about the changes that he noticed. I am
with
curious.
His approval.
Yes. With his approval. Oh, fantastic.
He started to become more creative. As I was also saying in my social media, he wrote poems, and when he proposed to me, he wrote me this poem that was truly, truly so deep for us. It created like other kind of bond between us. I mean, I am not an artistic person at all, so to see this quality within him, made me extremely attracted to him, but also just truly valuing who he is, because I think that's magical. I'm not an artistic person. I think I am a creative person, but in a complete different way.
And it really touched you, right? Because he made
words,
something beautiful.
Exactly, the words that he's putting in there, and the way he sees the world, it's just completely different. And I think that's why art is so beautiful. It's when you write something and it touches something, an emotion in another person, there is something collective, a magic collective feeling.
Absolutely.
So I was so glad to hear this. And then of course now he's busy with other things. He has his own business, and he's extremely passionate about wines in Romania. And why I'm saying this is that it really feels like we are in a journey. He's in a journey himself. I'm in a journey myself. But us as a relationship, that's also a journey. And
what I liked about what you just said about him enhancing his feminine energy is that it made him more attractive, right?
Yes. And I think that's really one of the most limited beliefs of people. They think, oh, if a person is masculine and I'm attracted to a masculine type of person, then I go for that.
Yeah.
There is a complexity in this. And what feminine gives us, it's so powerful. And we all have these two energies inside of us. It's just how do we access it? And what's going to happen when we access it? The rest. Feminine energy comes with rest. I mean, if we are talking about creativity, you need to rest. You need to make space in your schedule to be able to be inspired, to have this creative drive inside of you. If you are keep going, you have ideas, they come to you, but there is a complete different dimension than when you rest, reflect, sit with yourself, stop stimulating yourself with other sensory that gives you dopamine, right? Like TV, chocolate, good food. Yeah, we all love those things. But there is magic that happens when you stop those things.
Yes, of course. Yeah, I truly believe that. Well, there will be magic, but I think most people are so afraid of what will come at the surface when they stop running around.
Yeah.
When they stop going to places or taking courses or everything that the mind decides to do, actually, because in the end the body needs rest. If we're talking about women or men, both need rest. And then I think when people conquer those fears in the first phase, then the magic that you mentioned will occur. I truly believe that.
Yeah, that's true. Very good point.
Yeah.
You really, when you were talking about this, you reminded me, I come from a holiday and I see so many, I like to observe people in a holiday. And there was this friend who was telling me like, I'm so working throughout the year to go on holiday. I'm so happy when I go on holiday. And then I go on holiday and I lie at the beach. Everything is amazing. Oh, and then all of these thoughts invade my space. All of these fears come to the surface. So then I think, no. I mean, I'm on holiday to relax, not to face my fear. So, okay, I'm going to go have a cocktail. I'm going to go have like a very nice dessert.
Great example.
Okay. And then you are back home and you think, man, I could use another holiday. I'm exhausted. Yeah, of course, because when you rested, you didn't like what's happening. So you didn't rest because that was easier, right? And it's so relatable to what you're saying. You need self-awareness.
And also the courage, right? The courage to face your fears and to allow them to be.
Yeah.
Yes.
And to look them straight in the eyes like, okay, what is your message? You know? What is it? What is that thing that I need to know? Because again, emotions help us. The fear is not there just to piss you off.
Oh, that's wonderfully put. To piss you off. Yes, I think
a lot of people think like...
A lot of people think like that.
Come on. Why is this fear coming up?
Why are you here?
Finally, I'm at the beach. Can you not come back in 1 week when I'm home?
Don't bother me at all. Just stay away. But no, that's, it's truly empowering to take a deep dive and face your fears. And I believe you have something on your website that people can click on and go through, right?
Oh, yeah.
Just to start reflecting on different emotions.
Yes. Acknowledging our emotions and finding out what are the limiting beliefs behind this. Because again, when we rest, when we take time for ourselves, we check with ourselves what are the emotions that come up. That's when we can learn to regulate them. We can learn to use those emotions to take action. And then we can find out, okay, what is it stopping me to take that action? And that's why I love working with relationships and helping people develop their relationships, because I think emotions and limiting beliefs, like you were saying before, they come up as obstacles in our way to improve our relationships.
And that's right. But do you also think that that the true empowerment, the feeling of empowerment, comes from knowing these emotions and how to regulate them?
Yeah.
And just go out there as the person that you are.
I truly believe that you feel empowered when you have this intuition inside of you that tells you you can do this. You have tried this before. You did it well.
And there's a difference between your intuition telling you you can do this and your mind telling you go out there and face your fears and just take up these challenges, and afterwards you'll be a different person, right? There's a difference.
I love that you're saying this. Yes, it's so different because our mind is where our coping mechanisms come up from. So what we have learned at home are those patterns that, for instance, with me, I've learned at home that if I have fears, I need to figure it out, right? Like, there is no time to, I'm afraid of this. It's just keep going, right? That's something that I know. There are other people that when they feel fear, they are frozen. They come into this fight or flight or freeze, the freeze sector, where they are numb. They cannot take any action, right? That's coming from emotions first, and then going to the mind and giving this behavior. But I forgot what I was saying.
Doesn't matter. Just think about it.
Oh yeah, intuition.
Yes.
But connecting with your intuition is about developing this self-esteem, developing this internal power in yourself, where you try, and maybe the first time you fail, but then you try in a different way and it's a bit better, and then you try again and you are like, oh yeah, I've been through this.
Yes, and the term I came up with is natural self-esteem, because I believe that everyone can access that part, because when you just explained, okay, when you just do it and fail, actually you're explaining a child who is still free of limiting beliefs, free of limiting behavior, but the child is explorative, curious, and loving in a way, because he or she is just doing it, and in the doing develops the doing, but also the person.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
I love this. Yeah. And I always encourage people around me, my clients, act like a kid sometimes, you know, play like a kid. Play with something that feels so heavy for you in a way that this is just something I'm playing with. I'm trying it out. So
That's
I love
right.
this.
And I think that's the big distinction between doing something what your mind directs you to do, compared to doing something that your inner voice, your intuition tells you not to do, or to do it, because it's lighter, right? That's the big difference. This is like heavy, exhausting, and coming from here, it's much lighter, and you'll get into to the flow. You'll get into your creative state of mind, and everything goes more easy.
Yeah. And you were asking me about empowerment. I truly feel like our inner voice, our instinct, it's extremely empowering. But another level of that is the people around us. So if I was to make a parallel with my story, where I found myself, I enter a healthy relationship, I build on that relationship because that was my main goal, and then I find myself more, this paradigm expands into all the other areas of my life. So I also start to cultivate authentic relationship in my friendships. And this is just amazing how everything expands. I thought I was having great friendships. Then I discovered myself. And I realized that, just the fact that we go to a club together is not everything. Just the fact that we talk deeply about something is not everything. I like to believe that friendships are so important for a person, and they represent engagement. So whatever we are doing, it needs to be aligned with both of us. It needs to fill our cup. And loyalty. We are there for each other, not only when our agenda is suitable, right? That's something that our generation is a bit like, ugh. Yeah,
and
right.
it's also depending on the culture, I think.
Yeah,
what you're used to do, how to see your friends, plan the engagements.
Good point. I think I was also speaking now through lenses of the Netherlands,
That's
this
right.
part of Europe, right? Where it's much more about the individual person. But when you are part of a community or when you are in a true friendship, you are committed to that, just like you are committed to your love relationship. You are loyal to that person. And yeah, you cannot tell that person, please, something bad happening to you only when I have time in my agenda, right? Or only when I have my batteries fully recharged. No, but it's about that dance between setting up boundaries for ourselves and also helping when that person is soliciting our advice, our help, or purely just a shoulder to lie on.
Yeah, but it's beautiful what you just said about when you are acting from your authentic and true self, then everything around you will change in a positive way.
Like this, I have a dear friendship now. We are 3 girlfriends, and we are so aligned with our vision. And back to what you were saying, that it's good to coach each other. We truly coach each other, and they are not coaches, but they are curious, authentic, self-aware. So, speaking of empowering, when one of us goes to something, there is another level when a person truly sees you. I see this is important for you. I see how you feel. I hear how you feel, right? When somebody is truly there at the table, no phones, no distractions, no luxurious brunches, but truly there for you to be like, okay, I'm with you in this. I hear you.
Yeah, and that is empowering, right?
Truly,
Yes.
like I get goosebumps when I think about it, like it is so empowering to know that that person is with you in this journey. And then the other level of it is when that person is truly there for you, asking you questions. So my friends ask me, okay, you are in this obstacle. Why is this important for you? If you get this, what do you get out of this? Why? How would this help you? Changing this aspect or doing that for yourself. So truly asking questions, not because you know better and you are just waiting for the perfect time to say like, okay, that's why I have an advice for you. No, truly asking questions is empowering for me because I have a lot of thoughts, and when my friends ask me questions, when they are authentically curious, my thoughts are like this puzzle that comes together, I don't have to have it all figured out, but the fact that they are curious.
Your friends can figure it out. You can share the puzzle and make the puzzle together.
Exactly. I see it really like that.
Yeah.
Making a puzzle together where they are this container, asking questions, being curious, being present, not thinking about what they are going to cook for dinner, right? Like being there with me. I am answering, I am getting out all of these answers that come within me. And then together we can, okay, see maybe that the situation is not that bad, or maybe that, okay, there are some things that I can do about it.
That's right. And talking about these containers, you also organize women in conversations, right? So those are the meetups that you facilitate to bring women together to open up about what they truly feel. And yeah, then you are acting from the role of asking the questions, listening, and also encouraging the present women to do that. Yeah. And I think that's beautiful because we need to create more of those containers, more of those meetups, so like-minded people can get together and share what they are really thinking without being afraid that they will be rejected or that they will be seen differently, but just to be there.
And they are afraid at the beginning of the meeting, and I think that's so beautiful that I heard after the meeting takes place 2 hours and a half. We are discussing different topics. We are doing some exercises, either in pair, either in a bigger group. And I give the container, I provide the space so that they can connect with each other, to understand that it's okay to be vulnerable, that the other people are there with the same objective as well, not to judge each other, but truly to hear your story, right? And at the beginning of the meeting, you can see how nervous people are. And at the end of the meeting, when I gather the feedback, they say, yeah, I came here, I really didn't know what to expect. I really didn't know what I'm gonna find, if there would be some nice people, but everything turned out fine. I could open up, I could listen to others, I could be present, or I found this about myself. It's so empowering because we are all going through the. I am also nervous. I'm nervous because I'm every time presenting another topic. I don't know how the audience will react to the topic. Is this something of interest for them or only for me? Right? Everybody's nervous, but we are human beings and we connect through emotions. Like the fact that we can live our emotions, express our emotions authentically, and be in touch with our emotions, we are connecting with each other, and you can just see their faces, like they just become
more comfortable every
yeah,
step of the way.
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yes, that's beautiful. Well, Sinziana, I think we have covered a lot today. And yes, I'm really glad that I've got the chance to speak to you about these topics. So thank you
Thank
a
you
lot.
too. I'm honored to be here. Thank you.